Hello, everybody. Welcome to, at least for now, a final edition of And Another Thing with Jim. I am T minus 4 days, maybe, Pat, from the end of the line of my ministry that began in 2012 at Liberty Collingswood, and feeling hopeful but heavy. And Pat, you suggested that we jump on for one last dance through some memory lane and some podcasts. I really have no idea what we are going to be talking about today. So going in blind, which is how I like it. Pat, how are you?
I'm doing well. It is a bittersweet occasion. But yeah, as they say, getting the boys back together for one last hurrah before you head up north
Yeah,
to the ice and the snow and the cold, and you're banished up there. No, excited to do this last iteration of Another Thing with Jim.
me too. Usually people go from the wall to Westeros, but or to King's Landing. I don't know. But we're doing it the opposite way this time. But before we go to the hinterlands, we are in your earbuds from the greater Philadelphia area. Hit me, Pat. What you got?
We're gonna keep it light. You have a sermon coming up. We have a farewell party, so I'm sure there'll be more poignant things said at certain points in time. But we're just gonna
Mm,
keep it light, and I'm gonna go through a list of things, and you can rate them 1 to 10 based on how much you're going to miss them, or it, or performing it, or anything like that. So kind
okay.
of just a grab bag. And a 10 means you're gonna miss it a whole heck of a lot, and one
Uh-huh.
means or zero means you'll be glad to never have to see this person or do this thing. Well, it won't be people. I'm not gonna do that. That's probably a bad idea. There are no individuals here.
Well,
Um,
one of the jokes that we've been batting around for the past stretch of time, Pat, is like, what are you gonna do? Fire me? So hey,
that's
if you
true.
want to put people back on, this is the
Yeah,
I'm in overtime right now.
yeah. I can still get fired though.
Touche.
Um, and then if you have any you want to throw in at the end, like any things you think are interesting, things that you'll miss, you can throw that in any of your choices. But
Okay.
without further ado, how much are you going to miss traveling Route 70?
So that if that's the historic Route 66 of memories and history in New Jersey, which when we put Jesse in King's Christian School a couple of years ago, Pat, I got to know all of the Cherry Hill routes much more intimately. I'm going to give that a zero. It my I didn't think anything could suck my soul worse than the Schuylkill Expressway winding through Philly, but then I discovered Route 70 and I fell in anti-love all over again. So zero negative if if the Russian judges would allow me
Yeah, I was going to say
negative tally.
zero seems like a high score there. Um, all right, two-parter. How much will we miss
Wait,
prepare?
wait, wait, wait.
Yeah.
Just say pumping my own gas, missing that's a solid 10. So the
You we
mo moving out of state. So Route 70 is a negative, but there are places on Route 70 where I can have my gas pumped from the comfort of my own car, if you know what I mean.
It's kind of fitting that you said that because usually in a lot of these podcasts we kind of talk about something that the other person's going to mention anyway, and that was going to be one of them is
Okay,
pumping your own gas. So all right,
great.
10.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, I think the zero is a little bit high for Route 70, but again, yeah, the judge won't allow anything in the negatives.
okay,
Um,
fair.
how much will you miss preparing weekly sermons since you do what, 40, 45 sermons a week and
hmm
delivering weekly sermons?
Pat, is this understanding that in my next season of ministry, I will not be preaching every week, or is this
Yes,
more
correct.
preaching?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So it won't be kind of, the routine for better, for better or
yeah,
worse, and everything kind of comes with like, all right, most, Sundays or weeks you're preparing for a weekly sermon and delivering a weekly sermon.
so I think if this were a permanent switch, I would be a 8, 9, or 10, missing weekly sermon prep. But if this is a season of my ministry coming up at the halfway point of my ministry career, Pat, I am looking forward to the break of being able to be freed from the weekly grind a little bit, to develop some other ministry gifts in areas that I've always known that I have not been, always wished at least that I would have been able to devote more time to. And then also, my hope and expectation and prayer is that after some time of not being a primary preacher, I'll return to primary preaching, but better, having a season, as they say, of if I've been working in it for so long, I'll have a season now where I'll be able to work on it and think about it in a larger way. So it's going to feel it's not a change of pace that was on my bingo card before the opportunity to work at Christ Redeemer Church in Hanover came up, but it actually has come to feel like a very salutary one at the same time.
Okay. Um, how much will you miss the opportunity to eat a good cheesesteak?
That's a solid eight. So I think cheesesteaks are second only to po' boys as far as best regional sandwich in the nation. And I had a Dar's cheesesteak. I usually get a hot Chester cheesesteak from Dar's on Haddon Avenue in Westmont. It's my favorite local cheesesteak shop. Usually the hot Chester is I'm usually not a giant Cheese Whiz guy, but they make their own, they have homemade whiz, which
Wow.
sounds which tastes every bit as good as it sounds. And then the uh with banana peppers and Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Normally, I hate Flamin' Hot Cheetos, but a Flamin' Hot Cheeto in that context is spectacular. So if hot Chesters are my normal order from Dar's because my days of local cheesesteaks are behind me soon, I just went with my regular cheesesteak provolone fried onions because I was feeling nostalgic. And I think it was maybe on the Five Golden Things podcast with Matt Ford, Pat, where I we talked about how once you get far enough away from Philly where cheesesteaks start being called Philadelphia cheesesteaks as opposed to cheesesteaks, that's when you stop wanting to order them.
Right.
I'm gonna be leaving cheesesteak country to deep into Philadelphia cheesesteak territory. I'd rather do Cheesecake Factory than a Philadelphia cheesesteak.
I think that sounds right.
Take that to the
Uh,
bank.
yeah. Okay. Miss playing harmonica in the worship band.
NA. I haven't I haven't shared with our worship leader that I'll be playing harmonica in the new worship band. Hopefully I'll carry enough authority as a lowly associate pastor that I'll still be able to ramrod my way into worship team up there. So it's I'm despite the extra cost of moving all of my harmonicas in the truck, they're coming with me.
I'm just imagining you like playing harmonica on your drive up there, moving traffic.
So at the intro weekend in Hanover a couple of months ago, it happened to be that we were visiting during the weekend of a women's retreat of their annual women's retreat. So
How
Emily was
dare
there on the
you?
women's retreat Friday night, and then there was a corresponding guys' night at a place that had a big backyard fire pit, and there was a jam session. And I may have brought my harmonicas to the jam sesh in Hanover. So I've already claimed my territory and muscled out other harmonica players on the scene up there
Okay, so you already have your reputation for being a stellar harmonica player up there, or at
for
least a
being
harmonica player.
a mouth organist. Thank you.
Okay, how much will you miss walking to Collingswood restaurants?
I will miss that. And then let's give that I'll give that a seven or an eight, and then I'll parlay that into something else. So seven or eight. Uh, Collingswood we've has great spots, but if you live in any place long enough, it specifically Collingswood restaurants, Emily and I will opt for a couple of other things at this point. But the act of being able to walk to a restaurant is
Hmm.
something that we will not be experiencing. Both by way of microlocation and Pat, as we were hanging out last night at Jay's, there is a um, the the food there is not as good. So that's just a fact of life. Love the people, love the church, excited to be going there. It's not the food that made me say yes. The what I'll miss 10 out of 10 on many different levels is Pat, since 2012, I've walked to church every Sunday,
Mm.
more or less, unless I've had to bring my harmonica gear or some something else. And I miss the routine of that, including when most every Sunday I walk to Liberty Collingswood, whether Senior Community Center, St. Paul's, or Holy Trinity. There usually are not a ton of people out, and it's a great time to pray. So I'll pray for the worship service. I'll pray for what I'll be preaching on that morning. I'll pray that the Lord bring specific people on a Sunday to Sunday basis, people that are on my mind, and just pray that the Lord would. Sometimes I'm nervous, so Lord, give me faith and give me some courage and hope for this Sunday. Meet me where I and other people will be. Jesus be lifted up in our midst, and the all that it kind of feels like a. And I've or Pat, there is law enforcement on your family, at least on Brittany's side, not on mine. So I'm speaking out of school a little bit here, but I've enjoyed that and deeply appreciated that rhythm, kind of like a police officer walking his rounds, walking his beat, where here's the local pastor walking to church and walking back. So I'll miss that deeply.
Yeah. Okay. How much will you miss? And I'm not sure how much of a beach or shore guy you actually are. I'm not
Hmm.
sure if I ever investigated that, but how much will you
Yeah,
miss the Jersey Shore, being close to the Jersey Shore, like the drive down to the Jersey Shore, having that as an option? How much will you miss that?
that'll be big. So we're looking forward to different slices of the Atlantic coast, New Hampshire and Maine.
Yeah.
But I actually do love the Jersey Shore, whether it's just sitting on the beach, the 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 abiding bo body positivity of all shapes and sizes letting it hang out on the Jersey Shore for generations. The the easygoing nature of it all. I'm planning on hitting Asbury Park a couple of times at least before moving up. So there's a big Bruce connection,
Yeah.
and those that's yeah. Even from when we lived in Philly in the 2000s, Pat. The and I think South Jersey specifically, location, can't beat it. So we're minutes away from a world-class city. We're in an hour in both directions of mountains on one side and Atlantic coast shore on the other. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Agreed. How much will you miss, again, you kind of just mentioned it, but being close to a big city, Philadelphia, and everything that concerts, restaurants, what have you, culture there.
So we're moving to a college town that will have an interesting mix of rural beauty all around, but then also there is a pocket of cosmopolitan stuff right there in Hanover that Emily and I are really looking forward to that mix. The largest big city will be Boston, and we're even though I hate Boston sports, I actually do have a lot of affection for for Boston as a town to visit, eat at, go to
Cool city.
museums,
Yeah.
history. Um, but the but I think the we're on Friday night. My Josiah, my oldest son, and I are seeing New Orleans band Galactic in. Or we talked about this last night.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Bowl. Anybody that wants to come, if this episode drops by Friday, can meet me and Josiah there. It is connected with the Fillmore, so I don't know if it's
Okay.
replaced the Foundry or if it's an additional stage, but the and we're Emily, Clara, Josiah, and I are doing dinner in Northern Liberties before that that to have all of that at one's fingertips is pretty awesome. So let's give that a 9 or a 10.
Okay. All right. You just got two more here, and then again, anything else you wanna throw in there.
Okay.
Um, this won't be something that you're kind of like you'll have this in the future, but technical difficulties at church, whether it's microphones or videos or stuff popping in and out, or anything that can happen, and generally also, like, how do you handle that? Are you pretty like internally when that happens? Are you like frustrated? Or are you like, it happens, like it's gonna be fine? So there's two-parter there. How much will you miss those? Although I'm sure they'll be still, you won't totally be away from that. And then how do you generally handle that? Do you kind of get pretty angry, or you like, whatever, it's gonna happen?
Both. It does kind of drive me crazy. One of the fun things about being a guest at a different church than the one where I work on Sunday mornings is, hey, if something goes weird on a Sunday morning, I'm just sitting there fat, dumb, and happy.
Right.
I'm not stressing out about it. So and CRC, the church where I'm going, is about a 25-year-old church plant that primarily has met in the local high school. And so they're setting up and tearing down every Sunday. Sound is always a little bit different. And then they have the funds raised and are waiting on final permits to build a new building in the area, which I'm sure will have its own set of
Yeah.
points of acclimating and that sort of thing. So I drives me crazy, but it comes with a job, so it's an occupational hazard that I don't really mind
Yeah.
that much, and bring it on. So it's so in fantasy worlds of mine, the part of me when I'm in a uh, darker places, I'll think I should have just gone into business, whether CEO of Chrysler or otherwise, and the like there's all like everything is everybody's paid and I have people working for me that I could, you know, ask them what to do and they do it. And I'm not picky or
So you want to be a
Jake
king? You really want to be a king? You want to be a ruler?
Jake all the way down with our sound team.
Yeah,
It
Jake's
is
awesome.
yeoman's work and I'm deeply appreciative to him and the sound team, the setup and tear down. The but in my more faithful places, part of the beauty of working in the local church is apart from a couple of staff positions, it's all people that are giving of their time and of their self and of themselves for for their love of Jesus and their zeal for the kingdom of God. So I think one of the indicators to me that I've let my heart wander away from why I'm doing what I'm doing in the first place is if I ever get too down on people that are giving of themselves in the local church context because there's a messy beauty to that as I think about the specific people at Liberty Collingswood, Pat, that it's rending of flesh from bone to be leaving these brothers and sisters. Uh, and even as I look forward to the beauty of discovering that in a new place, there's so many here that will be deeply and fondly remembered, including whether by virtue of age or having been away from Jesus. There are so many folks at Liberty Collingswood for whom this was basically their first church as adults and learning the rhythms of worship, community, and mercy for the first time. Not that they weren't in plenty of cases following Jesus before that, but it was as students or as growing up in a church, but then plenty that didn't have that experience too. To to be learning the initial rhythms of adult lifelong discipleship in the way of Jesus at Liberty Collingswood. You only do that for the first time once, and for Liberty to have been that for so many people uh, is a pearl of great price that the Lord has given us, Pat. And Lord, would you continue to give that to our church?
Yeah, I mean it's the only church that my children, They grew up in the church. They were not at any other church. You're the only pastor that that they've had. So yeah, I mean, very like special also,
Hmm.
on my end as well. And I guess it kind of leads into like how much 1 to 10 or 0 to 10 will you miss Liberty, Liberty Collingswood, Liberty Network, everything, the whole Liberty. Yeah, all Liberty. And
All of it.
there's only one answer here. So
Oh, pet, it's a 10 when uh and that's true both for the Liberty Communion of Churches and in Liberty Collingswood. So I'll do Liberty Communion first and then Liberty Collingswood. So at our spring wrap up the ministry year, Liberty pastors, pastoral residents, and pastoral interns cohort retreat that we do throughout the communion. We were at the Malvern Retreat Center, which is where our men's retreat was a couple of weeks ago. There was a fair amount of time, almost to an uncomfortable degree of Jib Fest focus is sending off. But I there was part of me that um and for those that think I'm an egomaniac, this might be surprising. There is part of me that uh craves an Irish exit to when where all of the attention burst at the end of the end of the line is not something that I would naturally gravitate towards, but it's deeply appreciated, including everything that the church is doing this weekend for myself and for my family. So, similarly to Liberty Communion at this pastoral retreat, uh, there was reflections, prayers that that I'm so grateful for. But one of the things in the words that I gave to the group that Steve Huber's our director, but I've had a leadership role under him and in leading and forming this cadre of pastors. The I I told him, guys, periodically I'll get asked what makes the Liberty Communion special and or different or unique in any way. And there's two sides to my answer. One of them is nothing. We're just a ragtag bunch of most of our churches are not super large, but we're just a bunch of local churches that are doing mission together and loving Jesus with all of the joys, issues, and problems of any collection of of local churches. And there is no secret formula. But then I said on the other hand, guys, if there is anything that approximates a secret formula or secret sauce for the Liberty Communion, it's what we're sharing in this room right now, where there is deep love and affection for one another, where even though we're scattered across 10 churches, the the sense of camaraderie and ministry and sharing one another's burdens and being in one another's corner, that is the fact that by and large, and to a person, we love going on these pastoral retreats together and spending time together. The that is that sense of familiarity, unity, camaraderie, joy in one another is a precious gift that makes the Liberty Communion in my eyes special and different. And then in addition to that, what thrilled me coming to Liberty and what has sustained me at Liberty Collingswood is being a church community, a church on mission where Jesus is the main thing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this in various connections in my sermon this Sunday, also, Pat. To me, it shouldn't be that rare to have local churches that are focused on the mission of the gospel to their local context and are centered upon Jesus as the main thing. But the older I get, the sadder I become because there are so many churches. And not that Liberty Collingswood is a perfect church, not that Liberty Communion is perfect churches, not that Christ Redeemer Church in Hanover is a perfect church. Although one of the things that I think drew me to CRC, and CRC to me, is that it's a church that vibes very similarly with these things. The committed to the mission of the church and Jesus is the main thing, is ostensibly more rare than it should be in the churches of Jesus Christ in the United States, at least. And being able to, for us at Liberty Collingswood, Pat, to find ourselves on a Sunday to Sunday basis, living in community, worshiping together, practicing mercy, and living, speaking, and serving as Jesus' presence together in Collingswood and surrounding boroughs with folks that we wouldn't necessarily have a lot in common with apart from unity in the bonds of Christ is something that we should never get over, and something that we should find ourselves at which we should find ourselves deeply amazed on a regular basis. And the freedom to minister the gospel and to be faithful to the scriptures for the sake of Jesus and for the sake of mission in Liberty Collingswood is an immeasurable gift that Liberty Collingswood and all of you have given to me that I am I never deserved and am deeply unworthy and inadequate to repay in any way. Um, and yeah, it's been grace upon grace, mercy upon mercy, gift upon gift for these years.
Well, nothing really to add to that. Well said. I don't have um, any more entries here, unless you have anything that you can think of on your end that you want to throw in there.
I think I'm going to save it for Sunday, Pat.
There we
So
go.
let's give a cliffhanger, and there's more to come. The here I'll surprise people by leaving them with a quote from Elvis Costello.
Okay.
Don't bury me, I'm not dead yet. There's still some life in this old body, and we're going to exercise it this weekend. So it's going to be great, everybody.
All right. Well, thanks, Jim, for this last ride.
And traps like us, maybe we were born to run. I couldn't. Oh, come on. I couldn't end with Costello, even though he's awesome.
All right.
Sorry to step all over you.
That's right. I was going to say that we love you and your
Landing, here we
family.
go.
Yeah, we're out of here. See ya.